Is there any player who has fallen off more than Matteo Darmian? Don't worry, I'll wait. The short answer is no. There is no player, at least that I've seen for the Azzurri, who's fallen off in the last 2 years as much as Darmian has. From going from the player of the year to somebody who is, in my opinion, not worthy of being on the Azzurri side. So we have a lot to talk about today with Italy's 0-0 tie with Germany. Many positives. I want to start off right off the bat. Several positives from this young blend of Italians today. One thing that really impressed me was Ventura going with a 3-4-3 formation and playing on the offense like a 3-4-3 is supposed to be played. Romagnoli and Rugani, I think, played the best defensively speaking. They were rock solid. I think this is the future. I think Zappacosta, Belotti are already contributing a lot to the team, despite the result not going the way they wanted to today. But I really do have the feeling and I have the gut reaction to say that this is the way forward. Young players coming into the side and making their mark on the team in any way, shape, or form possible. Now, I will say this about the midfield, which I thought today at times was a little bit too lax. It's always difficult to play with just two center midfielders, especially against a German side who's going to be trying to overrun you every opportunity they get, especially on the counter. But I think De Rossi and Parolo played very well today, especially De Rossi. I mean, he was doing everything. He was distributing the ball beautifully. His tackling was spot on. It was probably one of the best De Rossi performances we've seen for either club or country in a very long time. It's been about a year or so of consistent declining from the number 16, and today he seemed to have stemmed that, and that's good news. Now, with the year's over for international play. The Azzurri are done for the year, and what we can see from that is a year of progress. And I think with the way that Italy played during the Euro, I think that was a big plus. But also, too, is we've gone now from a team without direction, a team that didn't have any prospects worth really talking about except Bernardeschi at the beginning of 2016, to now being spoiled for choice. I think if that's the case, then going forward, 2017 should be an even better year. I think 2017 should be full of a year of growing as we grow towards 2018 in Russia. With that being said, I fully believe that there's going to be a lot of competition for spots come 2018. I feel like there is no guarantee that Chiellini will be a starter in Russia. I think denying Romagnoli or Rugani the chance to play a big part over the next 16 months would be a big mistake. So there's youngsters popping up all over the place for Italy. And so for the first time, we saw today a very young team, barring Buffon, Parolo, and De Rossi. We saw several players step forward who I think can do well. I think the time of despair is over. Now, I'm not saying that Italy is going to become World Cup contenders by at the end of 2017 going into 2018. I don't think it's going to be the case. No. But I think that Italy is the best team in Group G for qualifying. I think Italy is better than Spain. But I also think it's time, with the surplus of young talent that is coming through the system, I think it is time to start weeding out some of the players who are not going to be up to par. Look at Darmian. I don't think in a year from now, especially if he continues on this track, he'll be a factor for the Azzurri. I don't think Bernardeschi is a prospect worth keeping. I'm going to say it right now. I've never really been a big fan of Bernardeschi. He looked really good a year ago when there was really nothing else out there. And there was really nobody who seemed prominent at the moment. But all in all, I would say that also players like Sansone, I'm not too convinced that he's Azzurri material, even though I'm not holding that against him. He only played 4 minutes today. But I think that there should be more risk taken by Ventura going forward. Now, 2017 is a very, very, it's a big year for qualification. It is the year for qualification. We do not want to be going to those qualifying matches late in the year, hoping to God that the Azzurri comes out and they win both matches against a team who's going to be just as motivated, if not more, to make it to the World Cup. So there has to be hope, and we can't afford to make a mistake. Otherwise, Spain will win the group, and that's the end. And that's just the end of the story. There's so many young players in this team. It's amazing how quickly it's changed. I can't reiterate that enough. Belotti almost scored the match winner today. I mean, either that or Immobile would have tapped the ball in. It just such an unlucky bounce kept this game tied. Italy was the much better side. We played much better than the world champions today. But at the same time, it isn't really fair to judge the Germans because most of their team, this was a second string experimental side that played today. But this shows that the Italians can come out and play with their prospects just as good, if not better, than the Germans. And that should be the standard. The standard should be Germany, and I have been saying it for years, even before Spain collapsed in 2014, is the Germans are the standards. They have set the bar over Spain going forward. Their production of youth has been unparalleled, and it paid dividends in 2014. And it almost got them to the European final this year. Now, all that being said, today's match, what that showed me is Italy can afford to play. They can play on the front foot. The time of Antonio Conte's defensive-minded setup only consisted of pretty much playing out of the back and countering. That doesn't have to be the case anymore. The players are there now to play on the front foot and pin back a team like Germany. And they did it for a large part of the game. On the same token, in friendlies like this, it's easier. I think it's a better way of judging the individual rather than the team performance. And a few guys who stuck out today for me were, of course, Belotti, of course, Romagnoli, of course, Rugani, but also Zappacosta. I thought Immobile playing on the left was an interesting twist, but I liked it. It was more or less a 3-4-3. I got some sources saying it was a 3-5-2. It was a 3-4-3. And there didn't do bad, but I'm still saying with the amount of attacking options the Italians have, there's absolutely no reason that Eder should be a key component going forward. I think he turned 30 years old today. I think there needs to be. I think a look needs to be taken at players like Pavoletti rather than trying to keep playing with Eder. Also, too, there's the jack in the box with Balotelli. We have no idea. He's at 26 years old now, and he won't be returning. He hasn't played a game for Italy since the defeat to Uruguay in the World Cup. So that's a pretty good option to have in your back pocket come World Cup time next year. Or, excuse me, 2018. Anything else in that game? No. Okay. So what I think about when I look at this side and I look at going forward into 2017, I keep repeating it. I feel super confident in this. I just feel I wrote last week that Ventura's the guy to make the Italy side competitive again, and he's doing it he's bringing in a bunch of young players, something that hasn't been done since probably 2004. We haven't seen a wave like this coming in. It's about time. Several new players are in. Several old players are going out. But there's big question marks surrounding the futures of Barzagli, Chiellini in the defensive block, as well as Claudio Marchisio, because it looks like the days of playing with a four-man midfield are over. A four-man central, like a diamond, like a 4-3-1-2 formation, those days are over. Also, too, by the way, for Donnarumma, his second international cap for the senior Italian side, which is incredible. He's 17 years old. He's already played 2 luxury friendlies. He's already played against France and now Germany. Today was his first clean sheet. So you can mark November 15th, 2016 in the history books, because I have a feeling we're going to be talking about this guy for the next 20 years. Wouldn't that be something if he pulls a Buffon in 2036, we're looking back to today and saying this was his very first clean sheet, and it came against Germany. It's quite a statement. All in all, the final talking point of today's match is how well the team played in a different formation. I guess you could sum it up about the international break in general. Liechtenstein and Germany are 2 completely different animals. But the Italians didn't concede a goal. I think they only allowed like maybe 3 or 4 shots on goal this entire international break. And Buffon eclipsed Iker Casillas' caps record, I think, at 167 caps. So he's well on his way to breaking the all-time record, which I believe is held by an Egyptian. And I believe, and don't quote me on this, I believe the Egyptian had around 185 caps to his name. I think that's what they're trying to track down for Buffon. I think that's why he's starting these matches. And I think that's ultimately the last prize for Buffon's international career, will be becoming the most capped international player of all time. Out with the old and with the new. This Italy side in 2017 is going to be exciting. If the clubs continue to play Italian youngsters and they continue to force Ventura to call up these players, because these are great options now, it's going to be very interesting. I do suspect that some of these players could be moving in January. It'll be for a different show at a different time. IFD Radio. The final score, once again, Italy nothing, Germany nothing, but have a good evening.